this schedule really shapes up for a playoff run with a 12-team playoff.
Areas that, you need to get from experience, which is just, hey, I need to make quicker decisions.
How do you define success for this team?
National championship.
What's going on, y'all? Bud Elliott here, back again for another edition of Summer School on the Cover 3 podcast. This is where we break down one team per episode, get you prepped for this upcoming college football season. And I am joined by my man, Garrett Chapman. Garrett, what's going on, dude?
Hey, man, football season's just around the corner. The transfer portal just closed up, but you know what? It's a 365 sport nowadays, so it seems like there's always some news to talk about, but can't wait. And very excited to be with you, man.
Absolutely, dude. So great work you guys do at Go Jackets. So, I mean, last year, it's hard to imagine last year going better for Brent Key. Like maybe a call or two goes different in the Georgia game, like be an all-time epic season, but a great year for him at Georgia Tech. What's the general vibe around the program right now?
Lots of confidence. I mean, there is an overwhelming level of confidence that he brings to the program. And that's kind of been that way since he took over officially a couple of years ago. And you can see it just in terms of recruiting. When I talk to recruits and I talk to guys who are around the program, there's a lot of very bullish people about the future of where this program is going. I mean, a lot of that has to do with the fact that you got Haynes King coming back. You have Jamal Haynes coming back. You got Malik Rutherford coming back on offense. And then you retain Buster Faulkner and everybody else on offense, and the defense looks like it's hopefully going to take that step forward like you saw last year. But ultimately, I mean, look, this team is very excited about where it's going, and you've seen progress. You've really seen progress, and it's highlighted itself. Like you look at the games they played against North Carolina, against Miami, against Georgia last year in that 8 overtime, just insane football game that we saw over there in Athens. But no, there are a lot of people who are very excited about what this team could be potentially in 2025.
So let's start on offense here. Haynes King is back, which is notable given that I'm sure some teams probably tried to sniff around there, especially after what happened in Tennessee.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Haynes King coming back, then also it's the retention of Aaron Philo. And look, he's the heir apparent, and you saw him flash a little bit specifically in that game against Miami, where he leads the team down and scores the game-winning touchdown against the Hurricanes at Bobby Dodd Stadium. And they rush the field and everyone goes crazy, but Aaron Philo was really this huge superhero in that one. But no, Haynes King coming back really he's the straw that stirs the drink for this Georgia Tech offense when he's back 100%. So that's very important. He's been looking to put on some weight because he's a very physical type of quarterback. He likes to get around and run the ball. But no, he's somebody who Georgia Tech fans can really get behind, and he is the guy for this team, and they'll go as he goes.
As far as weapons, I mean, obviously they lose a pretty important one to Auburn. Who are going to be the top targets on the outside for King?
Malik Rutherford is back. So Eric Singleton, of course, it's draft season right now. You're probably going to be hearing his name floated in some circles after he made the departure over there to Auburn. But Malik Rutherford is back. He's going to be the leading receiver. But Eric Rivers, Dean Patterson, you added those two guys in the transfer portal. Those are two guys who added 112 catches, 20 touchdowns or something at FIU last year. I think they should be okay in terms of returning production because it wasn't necessarily one guy who did everything, but it was more just with what Eric Singleton represented in that deep threat. He liked to run straight down the field, super fast type of guy. Rivers should be that guy who should be able to come in and replicate that to some level. But Malik Rutherford is basically a clone of Eric Singleton. That was what made them so dynamic. But Isaiah Canyon, he's going to be back. Bailey Stockton and Zion Taylor, they both had big springs. Zion Taylor specifically had a huge spring game. I think it went for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns in that one. But I think they should be in pretty good shape just based off of Buster Faulkner, his schemes. He likes to run people all up and down the line of scrimmage and kind of cause a lot of confusion. So as long as they have that speed and they have a guy who can get down the field, like Isaiah Canyon, Eric Rivers, all these other dudes, they should be pretty much okay.
Offensive line last year was certainly a strength, both in terms of like how they played, but also like the way they went about playing. I love their energy and how they worked together, and I think that was pretty notable. What are you seeing out of the group this year?
Yeah, I mean, Brent Key, he's a former offensive lineman at Georgia Tech. He's an offensive line coach. Did it at UCF, did it at Alabama, and then, of course, he was hired to be the offensive line coach at Georgia Tech before he took over as head coach. And that's where the personality of this team is built, is right in that offensive line. And I think this could be his most talented offensive line to date, albeit it will be a lot younger. So you're going to have to be replacing Weston Franklin at center. That's going to be a big one to replace Jordan Williams. He's off to the NFL at right tackle, and Corey Robinson at left tackle. But Ethan McKinney should be back at the left tackle position. Harrison Moore, Santana Aloputuapola. Forgive me for that. I'm still working on the pronunciation for that one, so forgive me there. Malachi Carney, you had him from South Alabama at right tackle. But the guard position, that's where they're going to be very strong. Joe Fusel and Keelan Rutledge. They're going to be very, very good along the offensive line, and they should be pretty deep. The big name, of course, was Josh Petty, the 5-star recruit. He came in from Fellowship Christian, one of the highest rated, if not the highest rated player that Georgia Tech has pulled in, at least since Calvin Johnson. And he should be redshirting. We may see him a little bit in depth types of situations. I doubt he goes over the 4-game maximum unless they're pushed to put him into that spot. They want to see him put on a little bit of weight and get a little bigger. But Jamison Riggs, Jordan Floyd, there's some other guys there. But they're pretty deep here on the offensive line. It should be another very good unit in 2025.
Are they good at blocking tight end? I remember last year, they had some guys that really blocked it up really well. And are those guys back? Okay.
Yeah, so Jackson Hawes was the big one. He's off to the NFL. He was taken in the 5th round, I believe. So he's off to the NFL. He's playing for the Bills. Luke Harpering, another really talented player. He's back. He redshirted last year, so he'll be a redshirt freshman this year. He'll be more of that true receiving tight end. Very talented. Son of Matt Harpering, played in the NBA and at Georgia Tech. JT Byrne. Yeah, so JT Byrne, he's going to be the guy who's going to come in and it'd be that blocking style, kind of like what Jackson Hawes was. They're very similar. He transferred in from California. And then Brett Seether, he's a UGA transfer. He was injured all of last year. He should be working his way into the rotation this year.
Awesome. Garrett, let's take a break real quick. And on the flip side, we'll come back and talk a little defense.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
And we're back here on the Cover 3 Podcast, Summer School Edition, talking Georgia Tech off an awesome season, looking to follow it up again in 2025. Defense last year was actually pretty salty. I thought they attacked opponents really well, identified flaws in their game plans, and went after it. And maybe they weren't elite, but they got after it when they could, and they were pretty physical in a lot of games. But now they have a new coordinator in Blake Gideon. How is the new coordinator and some new personnel? How different is this unit going to look?
So they're still going to pretty much run the same format of what they ran last year. Blake Gideon, he's a first-time defensive coordinator, comes in from Texas. He was a safeties coach out there. Hell of a recruiter. And he's really cuts his teeth there on the back end, and that's going to help do them pretty well because that was a unit that needed a little bit of help on that backside. But as far as what the unit is going to look like, it's going to look very similar. The biggest stuff with this is you just have new faces in the coaching staff. So Kobe Jones and Darius Eubanks, they're going to come into the cornerback position, and then Eubanks at the linebacker position. But that defensive line, it should look pretty similar to what it was last year as far as just the identity of what that team's going to be. One person to highlight, though, on that defensive line, Jordan Vandenberg, beast. He was on, I want to say, I can't remember his name, but the Freaks list from The Athletic.
Feldman.
He does it. Yeah, so Bruce Feldman, he does that every single year. Jordan Vandenberg is on that list, and will be on that list again this year. That dude is strong. He's built like a Mack truck, and he kind of looks like it, too. He's kind of like a grizzly bear, if you really want to put it that way. He really flashed by the end of last season. And then based on the type of guys that they lost a ton of guys on the interior defensive line. That's where a lot of folks are going to be looking to really kind of take advantage of this unit. So Vandenberg staying healthy and being that leader in the middle, I think is going to be really important. But they go in, they get some reinforcements at Kellystone. He was a Georgia Tech, transferred to Ole Miss, and then transferred back to Georgia Tech. Kind of a weird transfer portal circle. Time is a flat line, it seems like. But Matthew Alexander is the other one. From UCF. He's started at UCF last year. He had a sack in the spring game. Jason Moore, he's back in defensive tackle as well. But that's really the spot where I'm looking at this year, where there could be a little bit of change.
If this defense avoids a drop-off, it's because fill in the blank stepped up big time.
Oh, Kyle Eifert. I mean, Kyle Eifert is the guy. And he is, if you look at what Haynes King is for the offense, Kyle Eifert is kind of like that guy for the defense, if you want to put it that way. He's coming back from a shoulder injury or an upper body injury. They don't really disclose what the injuries are necessarily, but it's a shoulder injury. And he had the surgery in December, I want to say, and he should be back by summer camp. But he is really the most important guy on this unit. It's just as far as the energy dude, the guy who's going to fly around, make a ton of tackles, and kind of rally everybody. For anybody who's watched Georgia Tech, he's the guy with the big neck roll who runs around in the middle of the field, right. So it's hard to miss. But he's really that guy, because if you look at what this unit was year over year from 2023 to 2024, they were, I think, the worst run defense in all of Power 4. And if there were maybe 5 teams who allowed more rush yardage per game on a week-to-week basis. It was awful what they were able to do. But then you turn the page over to what they did in 2024, and this team was a completely different unit. They were one of the very best in the ACC, and it looked like they were good enough to, and that was one of the biggest reasons why they saw as much success as they did. And it really flashed against teams like Miami, against Georgia, and against other teams like that. So Kyle Eifert has a lot to do with that, and that linebacker position is going to be deep again this year. So I'm really excited to see what that group looks like again this year.
Is there any chance the defense is better than the offense?
No. I'd be very surprised. And I'm very fast with that answer too.
Sure.
But that's mostly because I'm very bullish on this offense. I think the offense could be one of the best in college football this year. And I think anybody who's sleeping on Georgia Tech is doing themselves a disservice. They're going to be a really fun team to watch. The thing that's really plagued them is just health over the last couple of years. I mean, Haynes King missed 4 games last year, and that really shot him in the foot. You saw a massive drop-off, specifically when you have like that quarterback carousel, like right around behind him. And then Jamal Haynes, he, of course, dealt with a lot of injuries last year as well. So the offense is going to be fun, and they're going to be able to keep up with just about anybody. I'd expect them to get up into the 30s, maybe even the low 40s at times, just in terms of scoring. The defense, it's just got to hold on. I need to see some guys in the secondary step up. You lost a handful of guys back there, but you just have a couple of question marks specifically on this defense. Clayton Powell-Lee is going to be a leader, but you lose Lamiles Brooks, guys like that who are big leaders for the secondary. So I want to see them kind of step into those roles. Mark Harvey, Rodney Shelley, they're back as well. But no, the offense is going to be the biggest catalyst for this team in 2025.
If you ask Georgia Tech fans, or I'll ask you, what defines success for this team this year?
Oof, they're always going to say beating Georgia. I'd say that this team, the fan base specifically, whenever I talk to any of them, it's they can go 1-11 if they beat Georgia. It's a pretty successful year. It's just one of those types of rivalries, but ultimately I think expectations, I know just being in Atlanta, I do sports radio here in Atlanta as well. The growing expectation around the city is that this is a team that should contend for a spot, not necessarily an ACC championship, but for a spot in the ACC championship. I think it's definitely within the realm of possibility. You look at what that schedule is this year. You trade out your teams like North Carolina, your Notre Dame's, your the team FSU. Of course, I was a top 10 team when they played them last year. And you flip that in, you get more of a Boston College, and you get Syracuse, you get guys like that. So you do have the Clemson game early in the season, but it is at Bobby Dodd Stadium. You have Georgia, but it's in Atlanta. Granted, it's at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, but still, it's still a good spot. But the out-of-conference game is Colorado. I think that's a winnable type of game. It's on the road. But, of course, Shedeur Sanders and all the Travis Hunter and all these other guys are gone. So they're going to be kind of a new-look team. So I think Georgia Tech has a workable schedule, at least by their standards. So I don't think an ACC championship game appearance is out of the equation. And if things bounce their way, you never know.
I mean, if you think about it, like odds-wise, Clemson's obvious. Miami is, I think, fairly obvious.
Sure.
After that, like, are you dead set that Louisville's better than Georgia Tech? Like, are we absolutely sure SMU runs this back? I think that's the thing. It's like you need Clemson or Miami to falter and then to play well.
Yeah, and don't forget Duke. Don't forget Duke. I mean, if you look at the teams who've had, I think they're the third winningest team over the last 3 years in ACC play. It's the Duke Blue Devils, if you can believe it. So they've got some
spending, man,
as well. They're spending money. They're looking to do some stuff, man. And I think the ACC is going to have a bit of a resurgent year. And I think it's what's most important for the conference as a whole is they need to get that strong second level program. I think that's where they've really been lacking over the last couple of years. You have your teams up at the top, but then a big drop off when you get to that second level. So I think if Georgia Tech can comfortably get into that second level and push their way up into that upper echelon, then I think that is good for them, but it's also good for the ACC as a whole.
No doubt. Garrett, really enjoyed this, man. Everybody needs to go check out your work at Go Jackets, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, bud. Appreciate you having me on.